Hi everyone, and welcome to the review for The Guest Cat by Takashi Hiraide. I'm sure I said that wrong. Okay. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I really enjoyed that. Now, so this one, it's completely in first person perspective, and it's all from the perspective of, so this one follows like a husband and a wife. But it's basically all coming from the husband's perspective of things that his wife says, of things that his wife does, of things they do together, of things they see, of things that the cat does that shows up in their life. So this cat was named Chibu? Chi-Chi? I don't remember. Chibi. C-H-I-B-I. Chibi. So the cat was named Chibi, and at first it's like the cat would kind of look in their house, like kind of peek its head in or look in through the window. They started leaving the door in like, hey, or the door open like, hey, come on in, you're welcome here, and the cat would come in and leave, and eventually it got to the point where Chibi would come in and stay the night. Chibi would lay in a box, Chibi would play, Chibi would eat at their house, and then would always leave. There's this little boy in this courtyard that this man and his wife live in, that on the mornings that the boy goes to school, Chibi would go and see the boy off to school. So there's that. Now this kind of courtyard thing is surrounded by, it's kind of like apartments, and so you have obviously several different families in this it's kind of like a complex, I guess is the best way that I can say. And the caretaker, or the landlord, as here in the U.S. we know it as, is an elderly woman and her husband. And we do see the effects of old age as it can take hold and be more, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say, it's not... Dreadful is not the word I'm looking for. More dramatic, more substantial, more life-altering for one spouse than another in different aspects of their lives. And so you do see that from, again, from this husband's perspective, seeing that happen with the landlord and landlady. And there are certain things that it does come up that were in the clause agreement to rent an apartment in this area, like no animals, but the landlord, or no children, something with, I can't really remember if there was anything about children, but there definitely was a no animals thing, I believe. And there were other things, and the landlady would say, you know, we did that when we wanted things to be quiet. I don't really care anymore. I like the noise. I like, you know, the sound of laughter and, you know, all this stuff. So they were much more strict, and as they get older and old age impacts them much more, they've realized that there are more important things in life than saying like something like no animals allowed in the house. So things like that. This was very heartwarming. Now, if you like, it's short for one. This was 100 and let's see, these are notes. So 136 pages of the actual story. You do get a little conversation, like a line here or there between the husband and the wife. I don't think they even really have a name. It's just all from the man's perspective, this husband's perspective. And I don't remember if he mentioned a name for his wife or just my wife, but regardless, it's all from his perspective. It's all completely first person, and what he sees, what he thinks and he feels, and how he sees the conversations between people, how he sees people interact, how he looks for a new job and they look for a new place to live, all this sort of stuff. The chapters are short, which for me I like, because I feel like the story moves quicker with shorter chapters. So for me, that was very, very beneficial. Now, the writing, not only, as I've said a couple of times, it's first person, but it was very kind of lyrical in a way. Very, I don't want to say like a poem. but it could kind of be at certain points. But it's kind of like you're reading like a song from this person's perspective in a way. I didn't mark any of the lines, and I definitely want to reread this and underline a lot of the striking lines in this. I'm trying to here is kind of a little, and this isn't going to give anything away in it, but it kind of gives you an idea of how beautifully this is written, and that's the best word. It is very beautifully written. Like, I love the writing in this so much. I immediately purchased another book written by Takashi, and the book that I got is interesting. You'll see it in the haul, and I can't remember the title, but it's got the image of a walnut on the cover, and it's kind of split in two. And so the first half is it's poetry, and it's all written in English, and then the second half of this book I got is written in Japanese. I am assuming it's Japanese because Takashi is from Japan. And this story takes place in Japan, and I think in Tokyo. So there's that. So, okay, so now back to this, I'm just going to read this paragraph because this will just give you a little bite of what the writing was like. It says, a pond which received water cascading over a waterfall was located in the center of the garden a little to the east, and there were 2 planters for water lilies, embracing more than one variety of the aquatic flower, embedded in the earth a short distance from the pond and near the veranda. In addition, there was a smaller cobalt blue Chinese porcelain planter farther away from the veranda at the edge of the pond, filled with the same black water and more water lilies. Now, that's not the most beautiful thing. I just didn't underline any of it, and I wish I did. But it's all basically like that. It's just described in a way that you can see it. I can see the waterfall feeding into the river. I can see the plants, the water lilies. I can see the planters, the cobalt blue. Not just blue, but it's cobalt blue. Not dark blue, not light blue, but it's cobalt blue. But, it was just so beautifully written. And so lyrical is the best way that I know of to describe it. And I don't know. At times it did feel, I will say, it did feel a little slow, but it was kind of like somewhat like the man in this, that's coming from his perspective, was just kind of like he was journaling his life. That he was like, if someone was interviewing him, he was telling the story of his life. And so that's what it is. Now, the guest cat kind of helps open the eyes of him and his wife a little bit more to see things just a little bit differently. They do grow attached to the cat, and the cat shows up pretty much every day until one day that the cat stops. Now, I am going to say there is threat of the death of a cat in this, and I say threat because things are kind of alluded, that it's like you don't know for sure if the person's telling the truth that the cat is dead, or if the person is telling a lie that the cat is dead. So you don't know which way it actually is. Now, you do find out more towards the closer to the end. You get a stronger inkling of which way it actually sways. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It was just so beautiful. I just can't say any more than that. It was just very beautifully written. People have an energetic voice. Yeah, I mean, I really need to reread this to underline some of the phrases in here that were just kind of awe-inspiring in a way, although that's not really the right phrase I'm looking for, but just enough to kind of like either catch your breath, make you stop and pause and wonder a little bit more at that phrase. So yeah, I definitely need to reread this to be able to do that. I was just swept up in the world. there's no world development. So if you're looking for world development, you're not going to get that really. I mean, other than like the veranda, what the window looked like, what the house looked like, things like that. But it's just the story of this man's life with his wife and this cat that shows up named Chibi that shows up pretty much every day. So yeah, I mean, it does say on here, beautifully and profound by NPR. Yeah, it is very beautifully written. So I think anyone would like this, but especially if you like and love cats, I think this is something that you will love even more because you already have that love. But yeah, so you do get to know a couple of other different cats. One they end up nicknaming Miss Muddy, which is really cute. But yeah, and there's life lost in this, like human. So life lost is referred to. So if that's hard, like from an aging individual, there's not really anything you can say. I mean, other than about the cat, that's spoilers. So, and it's interesting to also see how kind of this bond and almost friendship, not quite a friendship, but that the relationship can increase between like the renter and the landlady, and they just kind of talk about things and how the trust builds and the bond can kind of grow a little bit and how you can develop feelings for people like that. That was interesting. But again, it's all first person. So if you don't like that, you'll definitely want to avoid this. I know that some people don't like first person. I actually really liked this one, and it was just this guy reminiscing on his life during this time. So I do recommend this. It is almost lyrical, definitely beautifully written. And this is definitely one of the books, at least in my opinion, that when you compare this writing with other books as far as the writing styles, this one kind of stands out on its own. And this is definitely one of the things that I think if it was more well known, it would become like a modern classic, I guess. This is definitely something I could see, again, if it's more well known, being something more of a required reading for some English classes. It's that well written, in my opinion. So I definitely enjoyed it. Highly, highly recommend. Very short, so again, it's not cumbersome to read at all. It's very easy to understand, and it's just almost, I don't want to say whimsical. I think that would be making too light of the writing style, but I guess that's a good way to start the description. But it's definitely one that will definitely be one when people have it. I think that a lot of people will reread it just to try and pick up on some more of that lyrical writing that just kind of touches on a different level. So, yep. So The Guest Cat by Takashi Hiraide. Sure I said that wrong. But if you've read this, definitely let me know in the comments below what your thoughts were on this book. So that's going to be it for this particular book review. I don't think I did this justice. I don't think I can ever do this book justice. Maybe in another couple of years, if I get the chance to reread it, can I do a little bit better of a job with a review on this? But highly, highly recommend. So until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I will talk to you later.